All right, perfect. Thank you so much. So last week we were discussing the chapter number 2. Now, in chapter number 2, there are certain principles that we have discussed, and I'm just going to quickly skim through those principles before we move on to the chapter 3, because in my understanding, these principles are right here. These 17 principles are really, really the key idea that everyone has to understand. Okay, because last week we were discussing about these 17 principles where I talked about the positive mental attitude, because this book that we are studying right now, it is all about it's all about that positive mental attitude, right? We are talking about how to develop an attitude. And I told you that to develop an attitude, you must understand that your attitude is not just your thoughts, not just your feelings, not just your actions. It is a composite of all these three elements. And last week we had a great conversation in the group, where a couple of people has brought forward their concern, where a couple of people has bring their questions and concern. And it was really good to have that interaction in the group. And I will highly encourage all of you that every single day, every single week, bring forward these kind of conversations in our group, particularly regarding the idea that has been discussed in our class. Okay, because when you bring questions forward, what happens is that we have ample opportunity to discuss ideas and concepts. And you may never know, if you put up a question and there's a conversation around that in our WhatsApp group, you may never know when that can help somebody else. And that's where, my dear friends, we are applying one of the success principles that is mentioned right here. And it is on number 6, the mastermind. Because when we discuss with each other in our WhatsApp group, what basically we are doing is we are bringing that mastermind principle on the surface. And that's what the key idea is. When we bring that mastermind principle into play, that's when we are actually helping each other. That's when we are making that, significant difference. That's when we are making that contribution. That's when we are actually helping each other. And I highly encourage you that bring that perspective, bring that question or bring that idea, whatever is on your mind, into our WhatsApp group. Because if there's any principle that has made a significant difference in my life over the years, it has to be this principle of mastermind. I have been surrounded by people who were wise enough than me. I was surrounded by people who were really, really great people. And when we discuss with each other, we really, really become a better individuals. And that's what I will encourage you to do, especially in our WhatsApp group that we have. Okay. Now let's move to today's topic, which is our chapter number 3. Let me just quickly go to that for you, because this chapter by far is going to build up the foundation for you for the rest of your life. I can tell you that this chapter, it's the key, my dear friends. It's the key. Now, here is the chapter 3. Now, if you read the title of the chapter 3, it talks about clear the cobwebs from your thinking. Now, everything that we do in our life, everything that we achieve in our life, or everything that we ever have or will have, that depends upon our thinking, my dear friends. And today's chapter is going to be a lot about thinking, because I believe most of us are thinking, but not the way we should be thinking. And there's a very fine margin between that. You know, when we say that we are thinking, we really have to question ourselves. Am I really thinking what I need to think, or am I thinking what the outside circumstance situations are forcing me to think? Because most often in our life, we are crowded by our limitations. We are crowded by what's happening in the outside world. We are crowded by, majority of the times, we are crowded by our outside circumstances. And when that happens, my dear friends, our thinking is not in our hand. Now, let's have a look at here on this first line here, which states that you are what you think. But what do you think? How orderly are your thought process? How straight is your thinking? And how clean are your thoughts? These questions are really, really life-defining questions if you really pay attention to these questions. They said we become what we think about all day long. But where is that thinking being generated? Where is that thinking being originated? And how does that thinking really comes onto the surface? And we really, really have to think about it. All right. And what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to take you into some principles, some ideas. I'm damn sure you might be familiar with that, but it's very important for you to understand, because when we are looking at thinking, if we don't understand how that thinking takes place, we can have a horrible time changing our thinking, because thinking, it is related to your mind. And if you do not understand your mind, the chances are very rare that you will ever understand your thinking. Now, there was a great doctor with the name Dr. Thurman Fleet, way in 19 something, 30 or 40s. He gave a diagram to people to understand what is our mind, how does our mind looks like. And I'm going to explain that to you now before we really get into the further of the chapter, because if that diagram of mine is really clear to you, if you really understand what does it mean, if you really feed that idea to your subconscious and conscious mind, and I mean, if you really just become one with that idea, your life can start getting very simpler to you. Now, Dr. Thurman Fleet give a very simplistic diagram. He said, let this big circle represents your mind. And he said, let this small circle represents your body. And then he said, your mind is divided into two parts. That's the conscious mind, that's the subconscious mind, and that's your body. And then he said that we have 5 sensory factors, that is see, smell, hear, taste, touch, with which we see the world. And then this is a diagram that Bob Proctor has, elaborated in majority of his teaching. But over the years, we have added a new element to this diagram, and that is our brain, left and right. Because after studying different material from different authors, after studying this information for almost more than 8 years now, I understood that it's not just the mind and the body. It's the mind, the brain, and the body. And when we understand the correlation between the mind and the brain and the brain and the body, we will understand how we are getting our results. We will understand how our thinking is being shaped. We will understand how to change our thinking, my dear friends. And you see, chapter 3 talks about clear the cobwebs from your thinking. And when you understand how that thinking is being created in the very first place, whatever is going to be shared in this chapter is going to become very easy for you to apply to your life. Now, coming back to the idea of the mind, conscious and subconscious mind, there are certain things that you need to understand about both of these parts of your mind. Okay. Now, I'm not going to take a lot of time today just to explain that, but I'm going to give you some key ideas before the key principles has to be understood before we really get into any kind of techniques, before we really get into any kind of, making the difference. We should understand the basics. Now, you need to understand that in your conscious mind, you have that ability that it's your choice, that you can either accept information or you can reject information. Now, this is where majority of people are making the mistake, my dear friends. They're accepting the information that they should reject, and they're rejecting the information that they should accept. But the question is why they do it. Do they really want to do it? And the answer is no, they don't want to do it. But then why they're doing it? And the answer is pretty simple and pretty obvious. They do it because in their subconscious mind, if I just remove it for a minute, in their subconscious mind, they are programmed, and they are programmed with negative feelings, negative emotions, habits, belief systems, prejudice. That's what is written in the second paragraph. They said that there are certain mental cobwebs that clutter up the thinking of almost everyone, even the brilliant minds. Negative feelings, emotions, passions, habits, beliefs, and prejudice. Our thoughts become entangled in these webs. And that's what is happening, my dear friends. And we call it paradigms. We call it limiting belief system, whatever you want to call it. That is the reason why you're accepting the ideas that you should reject, and you know, you're you're rejecting the ideas that you should accept. That's the reason why it's happening, because we are under the compulsion of dominating thoughts of our mind. And sometimes you can start questioning yourself, like, are these dominating thoughts that much powerful? And I can assure you that they are powerful beyond your wildest of imaginations. They are way, way powerful than you think they are. Now, I have been studying this information for the last more than 8 years, and I have taken so many. I have, if I put it in this way, I have taken some steps, that I would have never taken in my life if I had not understood this information. This information gives me the belief. This information gives me the faith that whatever I want to do in life, it is possible. All I need to do is I have to keep fighting that battle between my conscious and my subconscious mind. Now, you all will reach that time in your life when you certainly know what you want to do, when you really know what you want to do. But then it's your mind that is going to crowd you with all these negative ideas, with all these negative beliefs, that you're going to shut out your thinkings, that you're going to believe those negative paradigms. You're going to believe what people are saying. You're going to believe what the world is saying. But my dear friends, it takes courage to break through the barrier. It takes courage to break through maybe some of your family paradigms. In my family, if I just put it in that way, we were so much used to be comfortable. We were so much used to be satisfied with what we have. So it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of painstaking study. It took a lot of determination to break through that paradigms. But I can tell you, when you make those decisions in your life, you are the one who is going to thank you for the rest of your life. Okay? Because the power, it's right there in your subconscious mind. You need to understand that if these paradigms are right there in the first place, then there is a way to rewire them. There is a way to rechange them. In other words, there is a way to make new positive constructive paradigms. And then when you build these new positive constructive paradigms, what happens is that then these new constructive paradigms start channelizing the more constructive thoughts in your conscious mind. And when that happens is that then your mind, your brain, and your body becomes in an alignment, which creates the massive shifts and massive results in your life. Understand that either mind, body, and brain are in a disalignment or they are in alignment. When they are in alignment, you experience miracles. You experience manifestation. You experience what you have never experienced before in your life. And for someone who has never studied this information, it may feel like too good to be true. But some of you have been there on this journey for many years. Some of you have been there with as long, for many years as I have been there. Because some of you know me from the beginning. And some of you may have just started following me right now. But I can tell you that when you understand how important it is to take control of what you think, when you understand how important it is to spend some time every single day working on your personal development, you understand the real meaning of life. Now, let's have a look at here what author is saying in the next paragraph. He said, sometimes we have undesirable habits. Now, let me just highlight this for you, because it's not just sometimes, it's majority of the time when we have that. We have this undesirable habits and we want to correct them. And there are times when we are strongly tempted to do wrong. Then, like an insect caught in a spider's web, we struggle to get free. Our conscious will is in conflict with our imagination and the will of our subconscious mind. Now, this is the key line here. Now, have a look here. Our conscious will is in conflict with our imagination and the will of our subconscious mind. The more we struggle the more we become entrapped. What does this mean? Think about it for a minute. Okay. Before I start explaining, I want you to think about it for a minute. Now, understand one thing, my dear friends. And if you start doing this, I can tell you that you will go far away in your life, far away. You need to understand that whenever you're reading something from any book, because that's how I do it. When I'm reading this concept, the first thing that I do is I always draw the stickman diagram. And I always try to understand that, okay, what the author is trying to say, what does this mean on this diagram? Because we understand in visuals, whatever is visually explained to us, that stick with us for the rest of our life. That's why I told many of my one-on-one clients, I help them to develop their habit of thinking on stickman diagram. Now, let's have a look at this line here, okay? And I'll teach you how I do it, line by line. It said that our conscious will is in conflict with our imagination and the will of our subconscious mind. So what does this mean? Now, our conscious will is in our conscious mind. Our imagination is in our conscious mind. But then he said the will of the subconscious mind. What he's trying to say. So basically, he's trying to say that the ideas in our conscious mind and the ideas in our subconscious mind are in conflict with each other. Why? They are when we have undesirable habits. Let's talk about in this way. We want to make a lot of money, let's say in our subconscious mind. But now in our subconscious mind, we have a habit of laziness. We have a habit of not making sales. We have a habit of just being scared of making sales. Now, what does happen? On a conscious mind, we want to make a lot of money that require courage, that require hard work. But what happens on the subconscious mind? We're lazy on subconscious mind. We don't want to work on subconscious mind. We may have fears on subconscious mind. We may have any kind of thoughts or any kind of ideas. But what's happening here now? These are in conflict with each other. It means the idea in the conscious mind are not what the ideas in the subconscious mind are. When they are in conflict, that's when our body move into a vibration that is a negative vibration. In other words, a conflicting vibration. And that's when we get negative results or no results, or primarily we become entrapped. We struggle. And that's all because of undesirable habits. So the first secret to life is that think about what habits are there that are no longer serving you. Think about this question. Habits that are not serving me. Make a list of those habits. Make a list of those habits. And then think about what will be the exact opposite of these habits that I can apply in my life. Now, you see, it's just a one paragraph, but you see how I'm expanding that paragraph, how I am breaking it down, how I am just taking one line at a time, one paragraph at a time, one word at a time, and I'm trying to relate that to my life. Now, that's what I want you to understand, my dear friend. That's how every successful person on this planet study, not reading. It called as study. It called as study. That's why Bob Proctor said that no amount of reading or memorizing will make the difference. It is the application of the wise ideas that counts. And that's what it is. But because before we apply the wise ideas, we must learn how to understand ideas. And when you start doing this, what I'm teaching you right now, one paragraph at a time, you will understand how to first figure out the concept, how to figure out the ideas, and then how to break it down. That is the reason why people, who may have read hundreds of books have still no difference in their life, while there is a one person who just read one book 100 times has a huge change in life. The reason being, he has applied the principle of repetition. And repetition is what counts. Repetition is what makes the difference. Now, this question that I have posed in front of you, think about it today, later on. What are some of the undesirable habits that are no longer serving you? It could be scrolling through social media. And sometimes I get caught up in this web of scrolling through social media. And what I do in those times is I remind myself that, okay, that you need to think about it for a minute. Because 2 years ago, my life was different. I have all the time to work on my business. I have all the time to work on what I wanted to do. Now there are some other things. There are responsibilities in my life, which was not there 2 years ago, right? Now, so that means my time is even more precious to me right now. So I have to give these reminders to myself again and again, because I know if I give these reminders, I can switch it off. I can really turn my mind from what is not needed at that time to what is needed at that time. And that comes with practice, that comes with over time, my dear friends. But it can only happen when you start understanding the principles being taught here. Okay, so really think about it today. Really think about that. What are the non-productive, undesirable habits that you have right now in your life that you want to get rid of? And then start getting rid of those habits. Because when you start doing it, life takes a new turn. All right. Now, let me just share the screen with you again, because for some strange reasons, the screen just pop it out. Just give me a moment. All right, here we go. All right, perfect. We are back. All right, thank you. I hope you can see the screen again, guys. All right. All right, you can see. Now, let's move further in the chapter. Okay. Now, he talks about some persons give up and experience the mental conflict of a living hell. Others learn how to tap and use the power of their subconscious through the conscious mind. They are victorious. And success through a positive mental attitude teaches you how to tap and use these powers. Now, by far, this book has so many strategies. But understand that more than strategies, it's the awareness that you need to develop. Because when we are on the road, we know that if there's red light, we don't have to cross it. So we know that it's a rule. Similarly, you will know the strategies if you read it once or twice. You will know the methods if you read it once or twice. But it's the awareness that you need to develop. The awareness that gives you the power to do what has to be done. The awareness that gives you the power to make decisions when they have to be made. And when you start doing that, that's when the real change start happening. Now, moving a little further in the chapter, let's have a look at this paragraph. An insect may not be able to avoid being caught in the spider's web, and when once trapped, it is unable to free itself. There is one thing, however, over which each person has absolute inherent control, and that is his mental attitude. We can avoid mental cobwebs when we can clear them, and we can sweep them away as they begin to develop. We can free ourselves when once enmeshed, and we can remain free. And how can we do that? We can do that by accurate thinking with positive mental attitude. And accurate thinking is one of the 17 success principles that has been revealed to you in the chapter 2. Now, he said that to think accurately, you must use reason. Now, what is reason? Let's have a look at that. He said that to think accurately, you must use reason. Now, what is reason? Now, reasoning is one of our higher faculties that gives us the ability to think. And then he said that the science of reasoning or accurate thinking is called logic, but I think it's beyond logic. One can learn it from books written specifically on this subject, such as The Art of Clear Thinking by Rudolph Flesch, Your Most Enchanted Listener by Wendell Johnson, Introduction of Logic by Averin Copy, and The Art of Straight Thinking. Now, there are many books that are on this idea, right? But if you don't want to read all of these books, I will recommend you that just go and find out the science of getting rich and start reading the chapter 4, that is thinking in a certain way. Now, we will come to that book on a certain time period in our book club, but I'll give you an idea that what does this reasoning mean. Now, I'm going to simplify that to you for now, right here, right now. Now, first of all, you need to understand that reasoning is one of our higher faculties that we have in our conscious mind. Okay. Now, we have see, smell, hear, taste, touch. These are our sensory factors, but then we have our higher faculties. So one of our higher faculty is reasoning. Now, you need to understand that it is our reason that gives us the ability to think.
But how we can use this reasoning faculty? The easiest way to use your reasoning faculty is to question yourself. How to question yourself? Now, look on the right side of the screen. Let's say this is your mind, this is your body, that's your brain. Here is your conscious and subconscious. See, smell, hear, taste, touch. Now, when you're using your reasoning faculty, it's very important for you to bring a question, my dear friend. Whenever an idea, any solution, or anything comes to the surface of your conscious mind, you need to question yourself. And the question is that, is this idea, is this person, is this situation that is happening in my life right now, is this taking me in the direction of my goal, or it is taking me in the direction opposite to my goal? Now, is it going to be easy choice, or is it going to be an easy question to answer? Obviously not. It's going to be one of the hardest question in your life that you can ever answer. But that's where you will get the strength. That's where you will develop these faculty. First of all, you need to understand that you need to question yourself. Is this thing, is this, or is this thought process that I'm having right now is going to help me to move in the direction of my goal? And if the answer is yes, this is going to help me, then without any problem, start feeding that idea to your conscious mind over and over and over again, so that this idea can sink and become a part of your subconscious paradigm. Because when that happens, that changes your vibration, that changes your action, and ultimately that changes your results. You see, the author is talking about that to think accurately, we must use reason, and reasoning is one of our higher faculties. And to think accurately, we should question ourselves. We should question ourselves. And you need to understand that, now, because I want to make it very, very good logical perspective for you, because sometimes it's good to be logical. You know, they said that don't be logic, because logic will take you from A to Z. But over the years, I've understood that you have to learn how to balance it out. You cannot be just on one side of the things. Right? You cannot just say that, yes, this road is good, the road is good, the road is good, I'm going to drive fast, I'm going to drive fast. You cannot expect every road to be good. There's going to be bump on the roads. And that's when you have to use logic. That's when you have to use common sense. Whenever you see a bump, you don't just straight away bang hit into the bump. You learn how to drive sideways from the bump. That's what logic. That's what logic in law of attraction. Law of attraction is not just blindly going in the direction of your goal. Law of attraction is not just blindly believing that, everything's going to fall into my lap. Law of attraction is all about believing it's going to happen, then use the logical mind to really do the things that has to be done. And that's sometimes we need to think whether this is taking me in the direction of my goal. If it is not, then you need to question yourself. Okay, if it is not, but let me think about again, because some of you might be doing jobs right now and you want to start a business, and you might be thinking, is this job is going to take me in the direction of my goal? Answer may be no, but maybe where you are right now, that job is required for you to build up the faith. Maybe you don't have any money right now. Maybe you don't have any experience right now. You want to build up your business. What if you quit? Now, I don't say that you cannot make your business happen. You can. You can still. But maybe if you just take that job, you gain that experience, you explore yourself, you develop yourself, and you gain some sort of confidence, you know what's going to happen? Maybe you will speed up more and understand that sometimes where we are right now, and we feel like that maybe this is not the right place for me to be in, but maybe this is why you are here, because this may be the path to take you where you wants to go. When we go from one city to another, we pass many other small towns in the road. Why? Because they all are the gateways to reach the place that you want to reach. And that's what accurate thinking is all about. Accurate thinking is not just about always being right. Accurate thinking is all about learning how to adapt to situation. Accurate thinking is all about learning how to really find good in everything that you are doing right now. Because if you're not finding good in whatever you're doing right now, what's going to happen? You're going to feel demotivated. You're going to feel you know, bad. You're going to feel really, really unhappy. You're going to feel sad. And when that happens, what happens? Nothing. So it's really learning the art of being on the path. It's really learning the art of how to navigate through these challenges and really make things happen. And really think about these ideas, these concepts that I'm sharing with you. You know, sometimes I don't prepare for these sessions that I'm doing every week. Why? Because if I prepare it too much, you know what's going to happen? I'll be coming with just a set of ideas that I want to share. Sometimes I just let one idea play in my mind, and then I allow my subconscious mind to speak to you every single week. And that's what I do, because I have been studying this information from last 8 years. I have been working with people from last 8 to 10 years. I have working on myself from last 10 years, and I have seen changes happening to me. So what I want to do is I want my subconscious mind to just be open up in front of you all. And that's what I do when I'm doing these calls, these paradigm switch club calls. And I have some good news for you, some surprises for you that I'm going to reveal on the last week. I'm just going to keep it another one more week as a secret for that. But I really want you to understand that how valuable for me is this time that I'm spending with you. It's because I want to share something with you that can really create a difference. And if you go ahead and apply that into your life, and if you end up doing something incredible with your life, that's going to be the biggest gift I have given to God for giving me this gift. All right. Now let's moving forward in this chapter. Now let's think about what his author is saying in the next line. He said, but we don't act from reason alone. An action based upon common sense is the result of more than just reason. It depends upon habit of thought and actions, intuition, experiences, and other influences such as tendencies and environment. You see, everything that I told you above, that's just going to expand. That means your action that you're taking right now, they're not just based upon your common sense reasoning. It is based upon your intuition. Because sometimes you just have that intuition from your mind, your heart, and you say, no, I want to do that. And that is the intuition you need to follow. That is the intuition you need to really act upon. Because your intuition, it is the game changer. Your intuition is the real game changer, my dear friends. Because intuition is when God is talking to you. Intuition is God is talking to you. And when you let that intuition take over, you can really make a big difference in your life. You know, I remember I asked Bob a question in one of the seminars that how to develop intuition. He said, just be present in the moment and just think about how you can help someone. Just think about how you can really be of value. Just think about how you can really be of service. If I'm talking to you, my 100% intention should be to you. And that's the reason why talking about habit of thought. Now, what is habit of thought? Habit of thought is coming from your fixed thoughts that are part of your subconscious mind. Because most of the time when you act based upon these pre-programmed thoughts. And that's what has to be changed. That's what need to be changed. Or in better words, that's what has to be replaced. Because there are some thoughts in our subconscious minds that are not good for us. And those thoughts need to be replaced. And when you become aware of what's working, what's not working, what's good and what's not good, you will learn how to replace those thoughts. You will learn how to make those changes, my dear friend. Okay. So it depends upon habit of thought, action, intuition, experience, and other influences such as tendencies and environment. So one of the cobwebs of our thinking is to assume that we act from reason alone, when in reality, every conscious act is a result of doing what we want to do. We make decisions. Now, either you make those decisions consciously or unconsciously, but that's a true fact that we make decisions. And you need to understand that majority of your decisions are coming from your subconscious mind. They're not coming from your conscious mind. When you wake up in the morning, that's not a conscious decision. That's a subconscious decision. Most of the time we wake at the same time. When you wake up in the morning, you go to the washroom, you brush your teeth. That's not a conscious decision. That's a subconscious habit. When you go to your your office, there are certain tasks that you do. That's not a conscious decision. Initially, it may be when you have started a new job, but over the time, that becomes a subconscious decision. How you treat people, that's a subconscious decision. How you greet someone, that's a subconscious decision. How you behave with your family, that's a subconscious decision. And that's where you need to understand that there is a tendency when reasoning to draw conclusions favorable to strong inner urges of our subconscious mind. And this tendency exists in everyone, even the great thinker and philosophers. So, what this paragraph is trying to teach us, we make decisions. And as I told you, most of our decisions are not our conscious decisions, my dear friends. Majority of the decisions that are doing are coming from our subconscious mind. There are ideas being programmed in our mind, and these ideas force us to think in a conscious way, and then these ideas are automatically being expressed through our body in the form of actions. We make decisions, but as I'm telling you, most of our decisions are on the subconscious level, okay. Now there are some of these old stories here, and I really want you to study these stories at yourself, because my idea being here is to share more of the concepts and allow you to get into the stories, okay. Because when you get into these stories, whatever I have shared with you today, it will make some sense to you. Or in other words, it will really create an idea in your mind about, okay, what these principles are all about. It will create that hunch. Okay. Now, let me just go further in this chapter, because there is something here that I really, really want to share with you. Okay. Now, let's have a look at this paragraph right there. Now, he said that now we see that cobwebs prevent accurate thinking when we start with a strong premises. So many persons think inaccurately when they allow all-embracing world symbol to clutter up their mind with false premises. Such words of expressions as always, only, never, nothing, every, everyone, no one, can't, impossible, either, or the most frequently false promises. Consequently, when they are used, their logical conclusions are false. Now, what basically this paragraph is telling you? Now, this paragraph is basically trying to tell you that majority of the time, we start with the wrong premises. Now, let me give you an example, okay? Let's say right now you're earning an X amount of money. Sometimes I take an example of money because it's a number and it's easy to visualize. Now, what if I tell you that, okay, in 6 months from now, you can 1000x whatever you're earning right now? What's going to happen? For majority of us, we're going to start questioning ourselves. I mean, how is that possible? Even if we start thinking that, okay, that excites me, but then we start thinking about how it's going to be possible, from where I will get the resources. We will start thinking about, is it really achievable? I have never done that before. There is nothing that I can do about it. It's impossible. So you see what's happening in our mind as soon as we just stretch our imagination to a point which is far beyond than where we are right now. Our minds start creating these alibis, and that's what his negative attitude is all about. This book talks about PMA and NMA. PMA is positive mental attitude, NMA is negative mental attitude. So necessity plus positive mental attitude can motivate you to succeed. Now, there is one word which, when used with PMA, motivates a person to honorable achievement. When used with NMA, it becomes excuse for lies, deceptions, and fraud. Necessity is the word. Necessity is the mother of invention. Now, when it becomes necessity for you to grow in your life, when it becomes necessity for you to really do something in your life, that's when you grow in your life, my dear friends. So along with having PMA, that is positive mental attitude, whatever is your goal right now, make it your necessity. That is the reason why majority of people are just working for their necessities and they're not going beyond that. So why not we expand our necessities? Why don't we make our necessities go from X to 10X? Because when our necessities become 10x, our efforts will become 10x. When our efforts become 10x, our results become 10x. Now, that's really simple principle, but that can make a huge and significant difference in your life, my dear friends. Now, let me explain that point again to you, because this is very vital. Let's say this X is right now our necessities, okay? If we grow our necessities from X to 10X, what's going to happen? Our efforts are going to become 10X. When our efforts are going to become 10X, ultimately, our mindset is going to become 10X. When our mindset is going to become 10X, our actions are going to become 10X. When our actions become 10X, our results become 10X. You know, it's as simple as mathematics. If I give 5% to something, my output will be 5%. If I give 100% to something, my output will be 100%. If not always, but it will be there. What if I just expand my mindset? What if I just go 10,000 times more than what I think I'm capable of doing? Now, this could be illogical, but this is where you have to mix, the mindset. Because to do the illogical, you need to have the mindset. And there's nothing wrong shooting for the moon. Even if you fail, you will end up in stars. It's the ideas to think bigger in your life. And that's what positive mental attitude is all about. That's what this third chapter is all about. The third chapter is really helping you to break down on your thinking. Chapter 3 is really, really enforcing you to think about your, belief system. It is forcing you to think about your habit. It is forcing you to think about your attitude. It's forcing you to think about your thinking, primarily thinking. You really, really need to think about your thinking. When you think about it, you become change. Inviolable standards of integrity and fundamental to all worthwhile achievements, and are an integral part of PMA. You will read many success stories throughout this book in which persons are motivated by necessities. And in each case, you will find that the person achieves success without transgressing an inviolable standard of integrity. Lee Broxton is such a man. Now, there's a story of Lee Broxton. Now, I'm leaving that story to you. I want you to read that at home today. Read that story of Lee Broxton. Read another story that are part of this chapter. Tell me what you have learned from that. Tell me what has really striked for you. Tell me what has really made the difference. Think about it. Think about what this author is talking about. Think about that positive mental attitude. Think about the idea that I explained to you in the beginning of the chapter about conscious thinking. Think about the reasoning that you can think what you want to think. And you don't have to accept all ideas that are given to you. Now, think about that. Now, let's have a look at this part here. You say that you have just seen several mental cobwebs as we have pointed them to you. Some of these are negative feeling, emotion, passions, habits, beliefs, prejudice, seeing only the mote in the other fellow's eye, arguments and misunderstanding due to semantic difficulties, false conclusions resulting from false premises. Be aware of that. All inclusive, restrictive words and expressions as basics or minor premises. The idea that necessity forces dishonesty. It never. Understand that dishonesty, it never comes from necessity. Dishonesty comes from a lack of awareness. Dishonesty comes from when you're moving towards the cheating mind, unclean thoughts and habits, fear that it is sacrilegious to use the power of your mind. Now, these all are part of enemies, negative mental attitudes. These are the alibis. And there will be many, many other varieties of cobwebs that has been shared in this chapter. Remember? Now, that's another valid point here. Ignorance is the result of inertia. We ignore things when we feel friction. Now, that's a really, really important point right here, ignorance. When there is something difficult or there is something that we have never done before, for most of people, the first thought is to ignore that. That which seems logical to the person who is ignorant of the facts or who know may be illogical to the man who does know. When you make decisions because you refuse to keep an open mind and learn the truth, that is ignorance. An enemy keeps alive and grows fat on ignorance. Eliminate it. That means you have to remove ignorance from your life, my dear friends. Don't ignore, don't ignore, don't ignore. Try to acknowledge. If there is something that you don't know in your business, try to acknowledge that. Because if you don't acknowledge that, how you will learn? Understand that in order to learn, we have to acknowledge. We have to acknowledge the fact that, okay, this is what I don't know. If I just always be acting like that, I know everything, I will never be learning anything new in my life. So success through positive mental attitude indicates clearly how you can eliminate it. Because when you focus on positive mental attitude, when you focus on what you need to do in your life, when you focus on what has to be done, what happens? You stop becoming ignorant. You stop becoming ignorant. Because when you stop becoming ignorant, you start learning, my dear friends. And when you start learning, you start growing. And when you start growing, life starts changing. When life starts changing, everybody around you start changing. It feels like that all of a sudden people around you have changed. But actually, it's you who has been changed. So focus on positive mental attitude. Think about this, whatever we have discussed today in this chapter 3, okay? Because it has been an amazing chapter. I think it really teaches you to think. And in the end, the author says that direct your thoughts with positive mental attitude to control your emotion and obtain your destiny. My dear friends, if you just do what we have been discussing today, okay, that's your mind, that's your body, that's your brain, conscious and subconscious mind. So, what you need to do, you need to understand how to channelize and control your thinking in your conscious mind. Understand that there is a paradigm in your subconscious mind. Understand that there is a belief system in your subconscious mind. Now, paradigms can be positive and negative, and they both channelize your thinking. And most of the time, it is a negative paradigm that we have in our mind that is channelizing our thinking. And when that happens, is that thinking is reinforced, that paradigm gains strength, that paradigm rewires your brain, that creates, enforce those brain cells, and that brain cells move your body into a vibration that ultimately changes the action, and that ultimately changes the result. So that means if I want to change my life, I need to change my thoughts on the conscious level. And then you not just change your thoughts, you change your thoughts at the conscious level, you consistently hold on to the new thoughts, and then you get emotionally involved with the new thoughts. When you do that, what happens is that you reprogram your mind. And when you reprogram your mind, what happens is that you rewire your brain. When you rewire your brain, that means you're changing the vibration of your body. When you're changing the vibration of your body, that changes the action that you're taking. When it changes the action, my dear friend, that's what changes the results. And that is the science of manifestation. That is the science of life. That is the science of achieving results. Because everybody talks about changing the thoughts. Changing thoughts is just a phrase. There's a whole lot of things that go beyond changing the thoughts. You need to be in an environment that encourages you to change your thoughts. You have to be in an environment that really forces you to be the best version of yourself. When you do that, that's when happens. That's when things changes. Hold on to your thoughts. That really changes your emotions, because when you hold on to an idea over and over and over and over and over again, when you really add emotions to that idea over and over and over again, that's what reprogram your mind. That's what rewire your brain. That's what changes the vibration of your body. That's what changes your action and ultimately your results. All right, perfect. So with that, we conclude today's call. As I told you, we have some good news for you, which I'm going to save for next week. I'm not going to reveal it right now, but I really want to tell you one thing, that because my goal is to really have hundreds and thousands of people being a part of this book club. And I cannot do it alone. Only way for me to do it is through you. If you are really liking this, whatever we are doing here, if you're really loving this concept that I'm teaching you, the way I'm teaching you, the information that I'm sharing with you, share the word on social media, tag me on social media, share my content on social media. As I told you, a one person cannot make the whole difference. But if you join me, if you really become, as excited as I am about this information, and you really spread it like wildfire in your network, we can really end up achieving the goal that we have here, to educate, to motivate, to inspire people to become the best version of themselves. Now, these calls are just a very tiny piece of information that I'm giving you. Near in the future, we're going to bring back the seminars. We're going to bring back many other things. A lot of great things are going to happen. But I encourage you to really, really bring as many people as you can to these free calls every Sunday. Every Sunday, be here. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring them into the WhatsApp group. Let them have conversation. Let them have these ideas, and you see what a big difference it will make to their life. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Any questions you will have will be more than welcome in the WhatsApp group, because I want to spend a lot of time answering questions there, because when you put up a question, that helps everybody in the group. Okay. So on that note, thank you so much for all of you.